The 400 years have caught up with the world, and a new day is dawning. Let us highlight what has happened before we can understand what 2019 is all about. The people of Ukraine got tired of the corruption, the deception, and the lies coming from their politicians. So they decided to drag them and throw them into the dustbin where they belong.
Anti-corruption, it's called lustration law, which people hope will be able to cleanse the government of corrupt politicians.
The different parliaments from the different parts of the world are caught on camera fighting, conflicting, and disagreeing, because even they themselves do not agree with the deceptive and corrupted agenda of their own politics. The political election of 2018 in Sweden have left the Prime Minister's office without any elected leader because of the conflict, the argument, the strife that is going on among the political parties in the Parliament of Sweden.
Carlo Vigano claims that Pope Francis and other top officials of the church knew of the allegations of sexual abuse against Cardinal Theodore McCarrick.
Pope Francis says he's worried about homosexuality in the priesthood.
The system of white supremacy that has ruled the world through racism, anti-Semitism, political deception, colonialism, and Catholicism is expiring and running out of date.
Sources from the Vatican are beginning to say that Pope Francis is ready to resign, that he says that he's ready to take leave of his flock. And this is in the midst of the whole pedophile scandal that's going on, that's rocking the Catholic Church right now. So the Pope feels he needs to resign.
The same Archbishop Vigano, concerning the homosexual element within the church that was being bribed in order to basically keep the corruption going.
And the Pope, in a very different, friendly, almost affectionate tone, said to me, yes, the bishops in the United States must not be ideologized. They must not be right-wing like the Archbishop of Philadelphia. They must be shepherds, and they must not be left-wing. And he added, raising both arms, and when I say left-wing, I mean homosexual.
His main concerns, Lauren, is that he thinks that there shouldn't be homosexuals with deep-seated homosexual tendencies in religious life or in the priesthood. He goes a step further too, and he says that any who have that kind of affliction and they engage in homosexual activity should consider leaving the priesthood.
Other things that are coming out in the media, it is a problem of homosexuality. Have no mistake on that. It is a problem of homosexuality. We even see in some places, particularly in Germany, there were a case or two of homosexual unions which were witnessed in the Catholic Church as a marriage, as a Catholic marriage is to be witnessed in the church before the parish priest and the witnesses. Homosexual unions witnessed in the Catholic Church. If that doesn't fit the term abomination of desolation, I'm not quite sure what does.
Implicated 300 priests in allegedly abusing more than 1,000 victims going back decades, while dozens of bishops allegedly turned a blind eye. That's why Pope Francis is under such pressure now.
Donald Trump, the President of America, decides to put things right by bringing back God's will over Israel, as the Bible says.
Therefore, I have determined that it is time to officially recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel.
The Trump administration says it will recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital. Here's why that matters. Jerusalem is holy to three major religions. It's where Solomon built the first Jewish temple, where Christ was crucified, and where the prophet Muhammad ascended into heaven. Today, it's one of the core issues in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Israel says Jerusalem is its capital, including East Jerusalem, which it's occupied since 1967. The Palestinians say East Jerusalem is their capital. Palestinians and their supporters say that if the US recognizes Jerusalem as Israel's, it cannot be an honest peace broker.
That would be actually the kiss of death to the two-state solution, because Jerusalem is at the very heart of the two-state solution.
For decades, US administrations have said the city's status must be decided by peace talks and that moving the embassy to Jerusalem would be taking Israel's side. In the first few months of his presidency, Trump had kept that tradition, even at the expense of a campaign promise.
We will move the American embassy to the eternal capital of the Jewish people, Jerusalem.
The Palestinians have made it very clear that moving the US embassy, or even just recognizing Jerusalem as Israel's capital, would be unacceptable to them. Other world and regional leaders have also strongly warned against it. One argument is that a city that has already been fought over for centuries would better serve now as a place of peace.
The city of Jerusalem was brought back into its right perspective by Donald Trump, the President of the United States.
Another big story we are following today, Pope Francis has published new guidelines on family life in a groundbreaking church document called The Joy of Love. CBS 4's Seth Doan reports from Rome.
It says there are absolutely no grounds for considering homosexual unions. He calls divorce evil, but he has left the door open for people who are remarried without an annulment to take communion. On gender identity, the document says, accept our humanity as it was created. But that's not exactly the acceptance the transgender community was looking for.
2019 marks the 400 years, which began in the year 1619. And these 400 years will be complete in the year 2019. In Genesis chapter 15, verse 13 to 15, God says to Abraham, after the 400 years, I will bring out your descendants from the slavery, racism, anti-Semitism, political deception, and the colonialism which is ruling over them. I will free them from their oppressors, and I'll bring them back into their land with wealth, riches, influence, and possessions. The Passover of 2019 marks the 400 years when you count from the time when the first boat of slavery touched in Virginia in the United States. From that time until 2019, that is a duration of 400 years. Welcome to the Passover of 2019.